All right, so Liverpool versus Real Madrid.
Yeah.
It's always a big one, but this one felt different. It felt like
Unfair.
there was so much more on the line. We're talking about the reigning champs, a team that Liverpool hasn't been able to beat
In 15 years.
for 15 years. The tension was just palpable.
Definitely. And what's really interesting, I think, is that it wasn't just a win for Liverpool.
Oh,
it was a
right.
total dismantling of Real Madrid.
Yeah.
And all the sources that we have, like the match reports from, places like Sky Sports, The Independent, and all the post-game analysis.
Right.
Everyone is highlighting just how unexpected this level of dominance was from Liverpool.
Yeah. I mean, we always see those streaks,
Yeah.
those records.
Yeah.
And I feel like they were just numbers before, but now they're really telling a story.
Absolutely.
So let's kind of unpack this a little bit. What were some of the key takeaways from the sources about why this was such a decisive victory for Liverpool?
Well, one of the things that really jumps out from all the analysis is just the sheer energy and ambition of Liverpool. It's not just that they won, they dictated the entire flow of the game.
Right.
And they did this against a Real Madrid squad that has superstars like Mbappe and Bellingham,
Yeah.
who were effectively neutralized in this match.
That's actually something I was thinking about when I was reading the reports.
Yeah.
If those star players for Real Madrid were kind of shut down, who were the unexpected heroes for Liverpool that made this win happen?
Yeah, that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
The sources are all buzzing about the performances of a couple of players who don't usually grab the headlines.
Okay.
And first up, you've got Caoimhin Kelleher, the backup goalkeeper.
Okay. Backup goalkeeper that doesn't usually scream like,
Right.
match-defining performance. What did he do that was so crucial?
Well, he made several crucial saves, including a penalty save against Mbappe.
Whoa, against him.
Against Mbappe. Talk about nerves of steel.
Wow, yeah.
The sources were describing him as unfazed and commanding.
Same deal.
Yeah, against a team like Real Madrid.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's one for the highlight reel for sure.
For sure.
And who's the other standout player that you were talking about?
That would be Conor Bradley, the 21-year-old right back who was tasked with marking Mbappe.
Okay.
And he absolutely aced it.
What?
In fact, The Independent even speculated that he might be the perfect replacement if Alexander-Arnold ends up leaving for Madrid.
Interesting. So we have these two players stepping up in such a massive way, contributing to this huge win. What does that tell us about the bigger picture for Liverpool?
Well, if we connect this back to the sources, there's a clear emphasis on the depth of Liverpool's squad under their new manager, Arne Slot.
Okay.
These performances by Kelleher and Bradley show that they're not just reliant on their star players, they've got talent throughout the team,
Right.
ready to seize the opportunity.
It's almost like this win reveals this trend that we've been seeing
Yes.
in the sources about Liverpool's ability to just dismantle even the toughest opponents using Slot's tactics.
Exactly. And speaking of tactics, we can't forget the drama of the missed penalties in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Both Mbappe and Salah missed their chances from the spot.
I mean, penalties are always such a nail-biting moment.
Oh, for sure.
But from what I read, even though they were dramatic, those misses didn't really impact the outcome of the match.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, the sources all seem to agree that while penalties are high stakes,
Yeah.
they're as much a mental game as they are a physical one.
Right.
And in this case, Liverpool was already in control by the time those penalties came around.
Yeah.
So it seems like even for stars like Mbappe and Salah, the pressure can really get to you.
Yeah. I mean, it happens to the best of them.
Right, absolutely.
So, penalties aside, this was undeniably Liverpool's night.
Yeah.
5 wins in a row in the Champions League, 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League. Is this the start of a new era for Liverpool?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
The sources are all pointing to this win as a sign of Liverpool playing with this newfound swagger and confidence. Slot has seamlessly transitioned from Klopp's legacy,
Yeah?
building on that potent style while adding his own tactical nuances.
It's really working.
It's a potent combination.
Yeah. Okay, so Liverpool is on fire right now.
Yeah.
But we can't forget about the other half of this matchup. What's the story with Real Madrid? This wasn't just a loss. It was a pretty significant defeat for them.
That's right. The sources are all highlighting that this is their third loss in 5 Champions League games,
Wow.
which leaves them battling for a playoff spot.
Wow.
They are not used to being in this position. And if you look at what Ancelotti, Real Madrid's manager, said after the game,
Yeah.
it's pretty telling. He even admitted that, finishing in the top 8 was
Yeah.
always going to be tough.
But Real Madrid has this history of comebacks. right?
They do.
So is there anything in the sources that kind of suggest they could replicate that, or is Liverpool fundamentally different this time around?
That's a crucial question. While the sources do acknowledge Real Madrid's ability to bounce back, they also point out some key differences this time around.
Okay, like what makes this situation different for them?
Well, the loss of key players like Benzema and Kroos is
Right.
really starting to show, I think. Replacing legendary figures like that
Yeah.
is no easy feat, and it seems like the team hasn't fully adjusted to their absence.
So they are missing that veteran leadership, the
Yeah.
experience. Okay, is there anything else that the sources highlight as contributing to their struggles?
Well, one recurring theme in the analysis is the sense that something is just off with Real Madrid right now.
Okay.
They're not playing with the same fluidity and confidence that we've come to expect from them.
Right.
And this is where I think the tactical battle between Slot and Ancelotti becomes really interesting.
Okay, let's talk tactics.
Yeah.
What did Slot do that Ancelotti didn't see coming?
Well, from what I gather in the sources, one of Slot's masterstrokes was how he completely shut down Real Madrid's midfield,
Okay.
particularly Bellingham.
Okay.
He basically assigned Gravenberch to shadow him for the entire match, denying him any space to operate.
That's a bold move.
Yeah,
Bellingham is the engine of their attack.
exactly.
So by taking him out of the equation, he essentially neutralized their biggest threat. Did it work?
It worked brilliantly.
Wow.
Bellingham was practically invisible out there. He hardly had a chance to touch the ball, let alone dictate the tempo of the game like he usually does.
Wow, that's fascinating.
Yeah,
And what about Real Madrid's attack?
yeah.
Mbappe had a pretty quiet game as well.
Right, and that was another tactical win for Slot.
Right.
Remember Conor Bradley, the young right back we were talking about earlier?
The one who was tasked with marking Mbappe?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He executed his defensive assignment flawlessly.
Wow.
Mbappe thrives on having space to run,
Right.
but Bradley gave him absolutely none. He was always there anticipating Mbappe's every move and preventing him from getting into those dangerous positions.
It's almost as if Real Madrid walked onto that pitch expecting to just walk all over Liverpool,
Yeah.
given their history. But this Liverpool team is clearly playing on a different level.
For sure.
They're not intimidated by big names or past results.
Exactly, and that fearlessness seems to stem from the confidence that Slot has instilled in them.
Right.
They are playing with a belief that they can beat anyone, and they are proving it on the pitch.
Okay, so tactically, Slot outmaneuvered Ancelotti.
Yeah.
But what about the mental side of things? Did you get a sense from the sources of Real Madrid's state of mind after this loss?
There were a few hints. Yes. Ancelotti mentioned that some players were overcomplicating things and lacking confidence.
Oh.
He specifically mentioned Mbappe, saying that he was going through a difficult moment.
Well, the missed penalty probably didn't help matters.
It certainly wouldn't have boosted his confidence.
Right.
But it's important to remember that even the best players have their off days.
Yeah, of course.
It's up to the manager and the team to rally around Mbappe and help him regain his form.
Yeah, for sure. But beyond Mbappe, did you get a sense that the loss to Liverpool had like a broader impact on Real Madrid's mentality?
Yeah, there's a sense from the match reports that Real Madrid were a bit shell-shocked by Liverpool's intensity. It was as if they underestimated this Liverpool team and were caught completely off guard by their relentless pressing and quick attacking transitions.
So you have Liverpool flying high,
Yeah.
looking like potential champions,
Right.
and you have Real Madrid licking their wounds,
Yeah.
trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
Two very contrasting narratives, but both incredibly compelling.
And both highlight the unpredictable nature of football.
Yeah.
One week you're on top of the world, the next you're facing a crisis.
Okay, so we've dissected the tactics,
Yeah.
the mental game.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the individual performances that really define this match. We've already touched upon Bradley and Kelleher, but were there any other players that stood out to you from the sources?
Well, on the Liverpool side, you can't talk about this game without mentioning the midfield duo of McAllister and Gravenberch.
Yeah.
They were absolutely everywhere, disrupting Real Madrid's passing game and initiating Liverpool's attacks.
That midfield control was crucial to Liverpool's success.
Absolutely.
It seemed like Real Madrid couldn't get anything going in that area of the pitch.
Exactly. And that's a testament to the tactical discipline that Slot has instilled in his team.
Right.
They were pressing as a unit, closing down space, and forcing Real Madrid into making mistakes.
And on the Real Madrid side, were there any players who managed to shine despite the overall poor team performance?
Honestly, it was a tough night for most of their players.
Yeah.
But I will say that their goalkeeper, Courtois, made a few outstanding saves that prevented the scoreline from being even more embarrassing.
So it sounds like Real Madrid is going to need to do some serious soul-searching after this defeat.
Yeah.
Their vulnerabilities have been exposed, and their confidence seems to have taken a hit.
Absolutely. They need to find a way to regain control of the midfield, rediscover their attacking spark, and most importantly, remember what it means to play with that Real Madrid swagger that has made them so successful in the past.
All right, before we move on to the broader implications of this result, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier, the loss of key players like Benzema and Kroos.
Yes, their absence is definitely being felt.
Do you think that this defeat to Liverpool signifies like a changing of the guard in European football?
Yeah.
Is this a sign that Real Madrid's era of dominance is coming to an end?
It's certainly a possibility, but it's important to remember that Real Madrid has a history of reinventing themselves.
Right.
They have a knack for bouncing back from adversity and coming back stronger than ever.
So while this result might be a symbolic passing of the torch, it's far too early to write off Real Madrid completely.
Exactly. They may be down, but they are certainly not out.
Okay, so we've really dug into the tactics,
the
standout performances, and the kind of contrasting narratives of Liverpool and Real Madrid.
For sure.
So now let's zoom out a little bit and consider the broader implications of this result. What does this win mean for Liverpool in the context of the Premier League title race?
Well, as we know, they're already 8 points clear at the top of the table.
Right.
And they have that crucial match against Manchester City coming up.
Right.
This victory against Real Madrid is just a massive psychological boost.
Oh, yeah.
Heading into that game.
For sure.
Beating the reigning European champions sends a very clear message to their Premier League rivals, especially a team like Manchester City.
So you're saying that by beating Real Madrid, they're basically saying to Manchester City, like, watch out.
Exactly. It reinforces this image of Liverpool as a team that can beat anyone. Anywhere on any given day. And remember, if they beat City, that gap at the top of the table widens even further.
Right.
We're talking a potentially insurmountable lead less than a third of the way into the season.
It's hard to argue with that logic.
Yeah.
But as you pointed out, Real Madrid has a history of defying expectations.
Yeah.
Is there anything from the sources that suggest City could pull off a similar turnaround, or is this Liverpool side just too strong right now?
That's where the analysis gets really interesting. While the sources do acknowledge that anything is possible in football, they also emphasize the unique qualities of this Liverpool team under Slot. They are not just winning, they're dominating games with the style and intensity that is reminiscent of Klopp's best years, but with added tactical flexibility.
So they've taken what was working under Klopp and kind of just elevated it.
They've taken it to a whole new level, and that evolution is what makes them so dangerous. They're solid, defensively dynamic in midfield, and ruthless in attack.
Okay, so Liverpool are looking formidable in the Premier League. But what about the Champions League? They're on a 5-game winning streak, sitting comfortably at the top of their group. Do the sources see them as legitimate contenders for the title this year?
It's hard to ignore their dominance so far. They've already beaten some of the best teams in Europe. And they're doing it with a confidence and swagger that suggests they believe they can go all the way.
Right, and this isn't a team that's, afraid of the big stage or anything. They've been to the Champions League final multiple times in recent years.
Exactly.
Do you think that Slot's experience from winning the Eredivisie title last season kind of adds to their belief?
Absolutely. He brings a winning mentality to this squad.
Right.
And that's invaluable in a tournament like the Champions League, where the pressure is immense.
Right.
The sources highlight that he's instilled this sense of belief that they can compete with and beat the very best.
Yeah, they've already proven that they can.
Yeah.
All right, we've talked a lot about Liverpool, but what about Real Madrid?
Yeah.
What do the sources say about their path forward after this defeat?
Well, the consensus seems to be that they need to do some serious soul-searching.
Okay.
They need to analyze what went wrong, address their weaknesses, and rediscover that spark that has made them such a formidable force in European football.
We talked about their midfield struggles.
Yeah.
And Mbappe's dip in form. Are there any specific recommendations from the sources on how they can turn things around?
Well, regaining control of the midfield is crucial.
Okay.
The sources suggest that they need to be more proactive, more aggressive, and more determined to win the ball back.
Right.
You know, they were completely overrun by Liverpool in that area.
Yeah.
And that can't happen again if they want to compete at the highest level.
And what about Mbappe? He's clearly such a crucial player for them. How can they help him get back to his best?
It's a combination of tactical adjustments and restoring his confidence.
Okay.
Perhaps they need to find ways to get him more involved in the game, give him more freedom to roam, and create opportunities for him to showcase his pace and skill.
It sounds like a challenging but not impossible task.
For sure.
For Ancelotti.
Yeah.
But as we've seen time and time again, Real Madrid has a knack for bouncing back from setbacks.
Exactly. It's far too early to write them off.
Right.
They're a team with a rich history and a winning pedigree. This loss to Liverpool might just be the wake-up call they needed to reevaluate, regroup, and come back stronger.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, let's leave our listener with a final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
Given everything we've discussed, is this the beginning of a new era of dominance for Liverpool? Can anyone stop them from achieving both domestic and European glory this season?
That's the question on everyone's mind right now. They have the talent, the manager, the form, and the belief.
It's going to be exciting to watch.
It's going to be fascinating to watch their journey unfold.
Well, thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the aftermath of this epic clash between Liverpool and Real Madrid.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
We hope you found it insightful.